Marcus Thompson had always believed that teaching was the highest form of giving. At 32, with callous hands that spoke of honest work and eyes that held the patience of someone who truly cared, he had learned this truth through years of helping others fix what seemed broken. The Saturday afternoon sun filtered through the open garage door of Thompson's auto repair, casting long shadows across the concrete floor, lined with tools and car parts. Marcus was finishing up the weekly maintenance on Mrs. Patterson's old sedan when he heard the soft, scraping sound of bicycle wheels on gravel. He looked up to see a small girl with golden curls struggling to push a blue bicycle that was clearly giving her trouble. She appeared to be around 5 years old, wearing a gray t-shirt and small brown boots that seemed too big for her feet, and her face showed the determined frustration that only children possess when something important to them is not working properly. "Excuse me, mister." The little girl called out, her voice carrying the sweet seriousness of childhood. "My bike is broken, and I do not know how to fix it." Marcus wiped his hands on his work rag and walked over to where she stood. He could see the chain had come off the gears. A simple fix, but one that would seem impossible to small fingers. "What is your name, little miss?" Marcus asked, kneeling down to her eye level. "I am Sophie," she replied, her blue eyes wide with hope. "My mommy is in the car, talking on her phone about work stuff. She said I could ask you for help if I promised to be polite." Marcus glanced toward the street and saw a luxury SUV parked nearby. Through the windshield, he could make out the figure of a woman in professional attire. Indeed, speaking on her phone with the focused intensity of someone handling business matters. "Well," Sophie, Marcus said with a gentle smile, "I think we can get your bike running like new, but how about I teach you how to fix it yourself? That way, if it happens again, you will know exactly what to do." Sophie's face lit up with excitement. "Really, you would teach me?" "Absolutely," Marcus replied. "The best way to help someone is to show them how to help themselves." He guided Sophie over to his workbench, where the afternoon light provided perfect visibility. Marcus had learned long ago that patience was the most important tool in any repair kit, especially when working with children. First, he explained, pointing to where the chain had slipped off. "We need to understand what happened. See how this chain is supposed to sit on these little teeth. Sometimes when we ride over bumps or shift gears quickly, it can slip off." Sophie nodded solemnly, absorbing every word, as if it were the most important lesson she had ever received. "Now the trick is to be gentle but firm." Marcus continued demonstrating with slow, deliberate movements. "We are going to lift the chain and guide it back where it belongs. But first, can you help me turn the bike upside down? We need to make it easier to work on." Together, they carefully flipped the bicycle so it rested on its seat and handlebars. Sophie watched intently as Marcus showed her how to hold the chain without getting her fingers caught. "Your turn," he said, stepping back slightly, but staying close enough to guide her. "Remember, gentle but firm." Sophie bit her lower lip in concentration, her small fingers working carefully with the chain. Marcus offered quiet encouragement, his voice calm and reassuring. "That is perfect, Sophie. You are doing exactly right. See how the chain wants to go back where it belongs. You are just helping it find its way home." From the corner of his eye, Marcus noticed that the woman in the car had finished her phone call and was now watching them through the open garage. She had stepped out of the vehicle and was leaning against the driver's door. Her professional demeanor softened by something that looked like surprise and genuine interest. "I did it," Sophie exclaimed as the chain clicked into place. "I really did it." "You certainly did," Marcus said, his pride in her accomplishment evident. "But we are not finished yet. Now we need to test it to make sure everything works smoothly." He helped her flip the bike back over and showed her how to spin the pedals to check that the chain moved properly through all the gears. Sophie followed his instructions carefully, her confidence growing with each successful step. "The most important thing to remember," Marcus said as they completed their work, "is that most problems have solutions, if we take the time to understand them. Your bike is not really broken, it just needed a little attention and care." Sophie beamed with pride. "Can I show my mommy what I learned? I think that would be wonderful," Marcus replied. As Sophie wheeled her bicycle toward the street, Marcus noticed the woman walking toward them. She was younger than he had initially thought, probably in her late 20s, with shoulder-length blonde hair and wearing a sophisticated beige coat that suggested success and authority. Her expression held a mixture of gratitude and something else he could not quite identify. "Sophie seems to have found an excellent teacher," the woman said, extending her hand to Marcus. "I am Rebecca Hayes, and I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to help her." "Marcus Thompson," he replied, shaking her hand. "It was my pleasure." Sophie is a quick learner and a joy to work with. Rebecca watched as Sophie demonstrated her new knowledge, showing how the chain worked and explaining what she had learned with the enthusiasm only children can muster. "I have to admit," Rebecca said, "I was prepared to simply pay you to fix it quickly so we could continue with our day. But watching you teach her, seeing how patient and thorough you were, that was something special." Marcus shrugged modestly. "I believe that when we teach someone to solve their own problems, we give them something much more valuable than a quick fix. We give them confidence and independence." "That is a beautiful philosophy," Rebecca said. And Marcus could hear genuine admiration in her voice. "You know, in my line of work, I meet a lot of people who talk about the importance of mentorship and developing others. But rarely do I see someone actually living those values so naturally." "What kind of work do you do?" Marcus asked, curious about this well-dressed woman who seemed to understand the deeper value of what had just taken place. "I run a company," Rebecca said simply. "We manufacture automotive parts, actually industrial equipment, precision components, that sort of thing." Sophie had finished her demonstration and was now riding her bicycle in careful circles in the parking area. Her joy evident in every pedal stroke. "She is lucky to have you as a mother," Marcus observed. "Not every parent would encourage their child to learn something hands-on like this." "My father was a mechanic," Rebecca said quietly. "He taught me that there is dignity and wisdom in understanding how things work. I want Sophie to have that same appreciation for practical knowledge." Marcus felt a warm sense of connection to this sentiment. "Your father sounds like a wise man." "He was," Rebecca replied. "He passed away when I was in college, but I still hear his voice every time I face a challenge. He always said that the best leaders are the ones who can roll up their sleeves and do the work alongside their people." As they spoke, Marcus found himself impressed by Rebecca's groundedness despite her obvious success. There was nothing pretentious about her, no sense that she looked down on his blue-collar profession. Instead, she seemed to genuinely value what he represented. "Listen," Rebecca said as Sophie rode back toward them. "I know this might seem unusual, but I would love to repay your kindness somehow. Perhaps Sophie and I could take you to dinner. She has been talking non-stop about wanting to hear more about how engines work." Marcus smiled. "I would enjoy that very much." They exchanged phone numbers, and as Rebecca and Sophie prepared to leave, the little girl hugged Marcus around the legs. "Thank you for teaching me about my bike," Sophie said. "Can you teach me about cars next time? I think that can be arranged," Marcus replied, ruffling her curls gently as he watched them drive away. Rebecca waving from the driver's seat, and Sophie pressing her face against the window. Marcus felt a contentment that had nothing to do with the day's profits. and everything to do with the connection he had just made. Monday morning brought its usual rhythm to the auto shop. Marcus was reviewing work orders when his phone rang. The voice on the other end was professional but familiar. "Good morning. This is Rebecca Hayes. We met on Saturday when you helped my daughter Sophie with her bicycle." Of course, Marcus said, pleased to hear from her. "How is Sophie? Is her bike still working properly? She has been riding it every day and explaining to everyone how chains and gears work." Rebecca laughed. "Actually, I am calling because I have a business proposition for you." Marcus was intrigued. "What kind of proposition? I would like you to come to my office this afternoon if you are available. There is something I would like to discuss with you in person. Something that might benefit both of us." That afternoon, Marcus found himself in the impressive lobby of Hayes Manufacturing, a company he knew by reputation as one of the largest automotive suppliers in the region. The building was modern and professional, with awards and industry recognitions displayed prominently. When Rebecca appeared, she was dressed in a sharp business suit, her professional demeanor fully in place. Yet when she smiled, Marcus saw the same warmth he had noticed when she watched Sophie learning about bicycle repair. "Thank you for coming," Rebecca said, leading him to her office. "I hope you do not mind, but I did some research on your shop after Saturday. Your reputation in the community is quite impressive." Marcus felt a mixture of curiosity and slight nervousness. "I try to do good work and treat people fairly." "That is exactly what I heard," Rebecca replied, settling behind her desk. "Marcus, I'm going to be direct with you. Hayes Manufacturing has been looking for a new head of our maintenance and equipment training department. It is a position that requires someone who understands both the technical aspects of machinery and the human aspects of teaching others." Marcus was stunned. "Are you offering me a job? I am offering you an opportunity," Rebecca said carefully. "The position would involve overseeing maintenance operations for our manufacturing facilities and developing training programs for our technical staff. It would mean significantly better compensation than your current situation, excellent benefits, and the chance to impact how we develop our people." "I appreciate the offer," Marcus said slowly, "but I am not sure I am qualified for that level of responsibility." Rebecca leaned forward. "Marcus, on Saturday, I watched you teach my 5-year-old daughter with more patience and skill than some professional instructors I have seen. You showed her respect, gave her confidence, and helped her learn something that will serve her well beyond fixing a bicycle chain. That tells me everything I need to know about your qualifications." Marcus sat quietly for a moment, processing this unexpected turn. "Can I ask what made you think of me for this position?" "Honestly," Rebecca said, "I have been trying to fill this role for months. I have interviewed candidates with impressive resumes, advanced degrees, years of corporate experience, but none of them demonstrated the natural teaching ability and genuine care for others that you showed in 20 minutes with a child and a broken bicycle. This is not what I expected when I woke up today," Marcus admitted. Rebecca smiled. "The best opportunities rarely are, but I believe that good things happen when we recognize value in unexpected places. My father taught me that the people who understand how to fix things usually understand how to build things too." As Marcus considered the offer, he thought about his small auto shop, the community he served, and the simple satisfaction of helping people solve their problems. Then, he thought about the broader impact he could have the chance to teach others and help build something larger. "Would I be able to maintain my focus on actually teaching people?" he asked. "Not just managing from behind a desk. That would be the primary focus," Rebecca assured him. "We need someone who can get their hands dirty and show others how to do the same. Someone who understands that the best leaders are the ones who develop other leaders." Marcus looked out the window at the bustling manufacturing facility below. Then back at Rebecca, who was watching him with the same patient attention he had given to Sophie. "When would you need an answer?" he asked. "Take all the time you need," Rebecca replied. "But I hope you will say yes." Sophie has been asking when she can see the nice man who taught her about bikes again. She would be thrilled to know that her bike led to something wonderful for you too. As Marcus drove back to his shop that afternoon, he reflected on the mysterious ways that kindness creates unexpected opportunities. He had spent Saturday afternoon teaching a little girl about bicycle repair, never imagining that her mother would recognize in him the qualities needed to help build the next generation of skilled workers. Later that week, as Marcus enjoyed dinner with Rebecca and Sophie at a family restaurant, he shared his decision to accept the position. Sophie clapped her hands with delight, and Rebecca raised her glass in a toast. "To new beginnings," she said, "and to the wisdom of recognizing that the most important lessons often come from the most unexpected teachers." Marcus smiled, watching Sophie color contentedly on her placemat, occasionally looking up to share important observations about her crayon choices. He thought about his father, who had taught him that honest work and genuine kindness were the foundations of a meaningful life. Sometimes he realized the greatest repairs we make are not to machines or bicycles, but to the connections between people. And sometimes when we teach others to fix what is broken, we discover that we are building something beautiful and lasting together. Chat Control's Sonnet.